Okay, so for our next session, let me introduce our next speakers, Dr. Carine Ontiveros of Novartis and Dr. Carine Culot-Rypens from Elsevier. To start with Carine, she's an information manager at Novartis Ireland. She's the chemistry information expert in the Novartis Knowledge Center. And as the lead of the chemistry team within the Knowledge Center, her work includes supporting the organization with their chemistry-based services, including chemical nomenclature, biodescriptions, chemical and substance information services for regulatory submissions, etc., etc. She studied industrial chemistry and pharmacy at the Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León in Mexico, if I pronounce it correctly, before she pursued her chemistry of therapeutics PhD at Dublin City University in Ireland. After she finished her PhD, she joined the Novartis Knowledge Center in 2020. And then Carine Culot, she's a senior customer consultant here in the life sciences team at Elsevier. And that means that she's a scientific advisor for our clients. She supports research and discovery scientists and engineers to get as many valuable insights out of Reaxys as possible. She also channels your feedback about Reaxys to the content and the product teams. And you will know her as a passionate chemist. She holds a PhD in physical organic chemistry, spent 9 years as a research scientist in the pharmaceutical industry, and published many papers and patents. She joined MDL and Elsevier in 2001 and had various roles in the time. She has a passion for science and scientific innovation. Thank you both for joining. Carine, your talk is about mastering the art of searching, and I would like to add also the art of finding. So over to you.
Thank you, Eric. That was a very nice introduction. So yes, indeed, talk today is about unleashing Reaxys. So we're going to share some tips and tricks and some search strategies that we have developed in-house for a very important topic that we have lately a lot of attention to. So here is our agenda, and this topic is going to be RLT. I'm going to introduce about the topic in a bit, and then we're going to perform some Reaxys searches about this topic. First, we're going to start with the dictator search, which is the easiest and quickest way. And of course, in here we have two options, which is via quick search or via query builder. After that, we're going to do some structured searches because that's kind of the a strong point or the strong suit about Reaxys, so all the chemical structures on the behind. And finally, we're going to end up with a target search. And after that, we just closing the session with conclusions. So again, what is RLT and why did we choose this topic? So RLT stands for radioligand therapy. And this is a new emerging area where Novartis is a lead in terms of the radiopharmaceuticals that are developed to match exactly a target protein in a cancer cell. So these radiopharmaceuticals are composed by three parts. One is a radioactive compound. Then we have a linker in the middle that finally attaches or bonds to a targeted molecule. And as I mentioned, this molecule is going to bind perfectly into a protein that is attached to a cancer cell, and hence is going to be highly selective. And in this field, Pluvicto, which is lutetium Lu-177 bipivotide is the first and only approved PSMA-targeted radioligand therapy, where PSMA stands for prostate-specific membrane antigen. Good, so then we're going to move to Reaxys with this topic. So what would I do if I want to learn more about this topic? Well, my first approach would be, of course, the easiest, going via quick search and just type RLT. What would I find if I do that? I'm going to find over 1,000 results. And then in the preview screen, that is a very nice feature that you can see a very early set of the 3 top results that you obtain. You're going to see that I have 3 results highlighted in yellow. However, the first one doesn't look like radioligand therapy at all. It actually says low triaxial something. So then if I go into the results themselves, actually I will find that there will be other results that stands for RLT as well. So for example, here we have radioligand therapy, yes, but then we also have other results like repeated low triaxial, like real-time localization system, residual layer thickness. So those are other RLT acronyms, but we don't want those. So how can I clean up my results? Well, you can do this easily on the filter tabs that you have on the left. So for here, I will do the index terms list and I will choose radioligand and then limit to. So from 1,897 documents, then I will end up with 284 documents only. However, these are very, very specific to my topic only, which is radioligand therapy. As you can see, I highlighted in yellow here. However, I know that like I'm in the field, so I know 284 documents is not like a real hit set of what I should be obtaining. So something is missing here. What would I do instead? So instead of searching for the acronym, I will go back and change and write the full name, which is radioligand therapy. If I do that, I will easily see that I will have 6K documents now, which is a very, very nice hit set. And that includes both radioligand and therapy in the terms. You see in the preview that you also have other documents. One stands only for radioligand in the title, abstract, or keywords, and the other only stands for therapy, of course, 5 millions. So those are not the ones that I want. The ones that I want are the ones that contain both of the words. So this is 6,800 results in total. Here, if I go and check the results, you will see that indeed I do have radioligand therapy altogether. I do not only have RLT as I had before. So these are all the results that did not include RLT that now are being part of my hit
Karen
Carine?
showed, yes, Karen showed you that if you use the abbreviation RLT, numerous erroneous hits are found, as RLT is the acronym used for several topics completely different than radioligand therapy. You can use the filters to be more precise, of course, but then you have too few results. The other solution proposed with the use of the two keywords, radioligand and therapy, is a good starting point. But if you check, it's not enough because you have too many noise in the result set. So Carine will now show you the correct way to do this query by editing it in the query builder to have all the synonyms following you and the possibility also to play with the proximity operator.
Thank you, Karine. Exactly. So most of in-house chemists, I will see that they will go for quick search, and that will be the only search that they will perform, and then they will have a lot of noise. So I will propose to go directly to Query Builder. So once that you know how to use it, you will find that this is very powerful because you can control exactly what you want with all the querylets. So for example, before I start with the query builder, I just want to give you like a quick overview of the Boolean operators that you have to use on the query builder. So for here, for Reaxys, we have and, or, not, near, next, and proximity. The only two that I'm going to explore in here will be near and next, or and not are not applicable to my search, neither proximity because they are not excluding terms. And I'm not going to use it because that's the one that is actually used by default in the quick search. So whenever I search before radioligand therapy, that will be searched by radioligand and therapy. So that's already covered. Now, how can I move from the quick search that I have to the query builder? That can be easily in 2 clicks. So whenever you were in the preview set of the documents that you can see on the back with 6K results, I can just click on preview, and then whenever I am back to the previous screen, I will click on the little pencil icon and I will go to edit in query builder. So that will take us to here. And as I said, yes, this search was performed already as an AND Boolean operator, so radioligand and therapy. So what will be my first strategy to move from here? So first, I will gonna explore the near operator. So I will click on the previously and operator and then just change it by near. And then on near, you will see that there is a tiny number next to it that in this case is the number 1. So this is the number of words, maximum words that you would like your two terms to be separated by, in this case, 1 word. The second strategy is that I will use truncation operations. And for that, you will need a star symbol. So you can see that now, instead of radioligand by itself, I have radioligand star. So that will cover both radioligand, radioligands, and any other variations. The same for therapy. Now I have therap star. So that will cover therapy, therapies, therapeutical, and so on. If I click in documents now, you will see that now I have 861 documents. That is way better than the 200 that I obtained via the quick search of the acronym, and it's still higher. So it's still a high number, but not as high as the 6K that I had before with a lot of noise. And if you browse the results, you can see that indeed you have radioligand therapy next to each other, and they are exactly what I wanted. In the first, I have radioligand therapy. In the second, I have radioligand therapeutics. So this result was not obtained previously when I was searching for radioligand therapy as itself. So what will happen if I change that little number that I mentioned you by a number 2? So now I am being a little bit more flexible because I am selecting that the search terms can have another word between them. And how is this affecting my results? Well, before I had 161, now I have 185. So I gained these 20 documents. And if you see on the screen on the right, you will see that some of these documents are having radioligand in therapy, radioligand RLT therapy, radioligand targeted therapy. So those are results that, of course, are totally focused to my search, but I didn't obtain it better because I was very strict on saying only one word of difference. So now with near 2, I have a better set of results that I can further explore, 185. Now you will think, why did I use near operator and not next? Then the difference between these two operators, I don't know if you're reading the Boolean operator slides, but is that the near with the near operator, the search terms are adjacent to each other in any order. So that's the one that I will use first because it has a little bit more of flexibility. On the other hand, if you use the Boolean operator next, in that case, you will have your two search terms sequentially ordered next to each other. So of course, as you may imagine, this next Boolean operator is a little bit more restrictive in terms of the hits that you are going to obtain. And we are going to see that in a summary of the results that you can obtain with these two Boolean operators. Carine, can you give us a help with this?
Yes, of course, Karen. So on this slide, you see the summary of all the results found in relation to the different proximity operator we have used, so near or next. And with next, as you can see, as the constraint to introduce an order between the term, you have always a similar number of hits found if you check the number of bibliographic references, the number of substances, the number of targets. But with the near operator, you see really that it's not the case. You see rapidly that with the introduction of separated terms up to 2 or 3, you have really a biggest numbers of bibliographic references found. And so, of course, of number of targets that have been extracted. So it's really a good recommendation to use the near operator. And now Karen will continue with a very nice example.
Thank you. So yes, after if you continue with your analysis of the literature, you will see that in this analysis, there is one compound that stands in mostly all of the references, and that will be 177 LU-PSMA 617. So what if I want to further explore these radioligand therapy terms, but based on this compound? So I can do a structure search and show you how to play with it. So first of all, I need to insert the structure. So for that, we'll go to the structure canvas in Reaxys. In this case, you have two options for the structure editors. You have Marvin.js or ChemDraw. My preference is always Marvin, but you can switch if you don't like this one. You can click on insert the structure from name on the top right. Just copy the name that you found on the literature search and then click in the search magnifying glass. In this case, I was encountered with this screen that says cannot translate the name you entered. If something like that happened, don't worry. That means that this name is not indexed in Reaxys for this compound. And what is that? Because this is an abbreviation. There is not actually a chemical name. So how can I search for the actual name that Reaxys used to index this compound? I can, again, go back to the query builder. So in this case, I selected the query builder, the querylet substance properties and comments. I will copy the name that I found and click on substances, and easily I will find one result, and this result is indeed 177LU, LU-BP tetraxetone. So you can see the name that is indexed in Reaxys is actually the INN name, which is an official name and not a chemical abbreviation, if you want to call, as I had the other one. So now I have exactly the record that I wanted, and I can translate this into my canvas so I can play with the structure. You can use the 3 dots that are in this record itself, or I will go with the long way that is inserting the structure from name and now using the new name. Once that you've done that, you see that the structure is actually imported into your canvas, and now you can start playing with it. Once that you inserted it, I noticed for this one that is a little bit noisy, so I will use this very nice button that actually Carine showed me that is called 2D, and it's on the top, so you can clean up your molecule to look from there to this. So now you see that all the groups are perfectly spaced, so I can play with them. And for the data cage that is on the left side, I manually move the bonds so it's a little bit more spaced and I can play with them. So if you notice, there is like tiny V nodes in the data cage itself on the nitrogen atoms and on the lutetium atom, and it says V7, V4, etc. So I just want you to know that this V stands for bond orders, and because this is a coordination system, so Reaxys has indexed the number of bonds that these atoms can have. So that's a feature that it's respected for this structure, so we need to be sure that we are keeping this so we can search, so we can find these structures in Reaxys. Okay, so what would be my first approach to further play with this structure? Very easily, I can switch from lutetium to any other metal, so I can explore other type of radioactive atoms that have been used for this type of molecules. And for that, I will use the menu that is on the right side. So in that, I will click on the button that has a letter A and switch by an M, which stands for any metal. And then I will just click where the lutetium used to be, and now I have an M. Please note how the V7 now is gone. So I need to restore the bond order for the metal. Otherwise, it will not be found as a coordination system for this type of molecules. So I will click on the M that I just inserted, right click on my mouse, and then click on Atom Properties. So for atom properties, you have two tabs. One is basic and the other is advanced. In this case, I will go for the advanced, and that's where I will find the bond orders with the letter V field. Note that this is gray out, so I need to unlock it first. Click on the lock atom and on the lock icon, sorry. And then just insert the bond order I want. In this case, because this is a metal inside of a data cage, I want it to be 7 as it was, and just click in OK. And now you will see now I have the MV7 restored. And for performing this type of searches, what I would like to highlight on the right side is search structure as drawn. First, because I want to do a quick overview of this structure exactly as it is. But also I will highlight tautomers, isotopes, charge, and radicals. Again, because this is a coordination structure and there are different options for isotopes. So I want to know what is out there in the literature with all these options. So with this structure as drawn and as it is with a methyl in a bond order 7, you see that I found 4 results. So these 4 substances, if I further explore them, I will see that indeed my very first result is the one that I wanted, which is 177 lutetium, but also there are other options with other metals. So for example, we have indium, which is natural, and we also have the radioactive 111 indium. So this is a very nice option that I could explore exactly the same molecule, but with different metals and different isotopes. Just as a recommendation, once that you've performed your very first search, after you play a little bit with a big molecule like this one, I highly recommend you to save your search. So to do that, you will go on the top screen of Reaxys, go in history, and then in history, the latest result will be the one that you just performed a few seconds ago. So you can click in the floppy disk icon that is in there and click in save. Once that you click in there, Reaxys is going to ask you to give a name to your search, and then you can save it, and now it will appear under saved history searches. Why is this important? Because once that you start playing and cleaning up your molecule, like one like this one that is very big, you don't want to lose all those progress and then restart again, inserting the structure and so on. So with this, you save your search, and then you can come back anytime to play again. Once that you are a little bit more acquainted with this topic, you know that some of these metals can appear as charged species. So how can I explore that into my canvas in Reaxys? So that is very easy to add a charge to the metal that you just inserted. So you highlight the metal that you had before. Again, right-click on your mouse, go to Atom Properties. In this time, in the Basic tab, you will see that there is a field that says Charge. So for this case, I want to explore a charge of 7, which is usual for this type of compounds, and then we'll see how this is applied to my structure. Now you see in the canvas that you have M, and then 3+, and then V7, which is a bond order because we didn't move it. So that's exactly what I wanted to search. I keep the same structure features on the right, and then click in Transfer to Query and check the results. Now you can see that before we have 4, now we have 5. So these 5 substances are charged species, and they are thorium, lutetium, and also gallium. So now we're having 2 different metals that we didn't have before, because these structures were indexed as charged. And if if you check on the records for each substance, you will see that indeed those are the structures that I was looking for, and also they have charge species. So now I have a new hit set, which is a 9 results in total exactly for this type of molecule with different metals. So I'm going to continue using these charge species because I'm more interested in these ones, and I'm just going to show you how you can further play with this structure. This structure is massive, so there are plenty of room to play with. Here, I'm just highlighting some of the features that I can easily identify and that I can play with. So the first one will be on the blue side, keep the amide bond. Because if you do this literature search, you will notice that this amide bond is detrimental for this type of compounds. So I can lock these atoms so they are always preserved in all my searches. Also, you notice there is a cyclohexane ring over there. You can have other ring sizes and other ring types that you can further explore for this molecule. There is also a naphthalene group on the pink. You can have here any aromatic group or even explore other groups. There is a chain in the middle in green. You can have this chain to be larger or smaller. You have 2 stereo bonds. You can try to find the diastereomers for these 2 stereo bonds. And also you have 3 carboxylic acid groups that you can further expand to have other substitutions. So these are just some examples, and I'm not going to cover all, otherwise it's going to take me an hour. So I'm just going to show you the first 3 and how you can do that in Reaxys. So first feature will be keep the amide bond. And for this, you need to use the lock atom property. So that is on your left-hand side, and it has a letter S with a lock icon. You click there and then just click in the atoms that you want to lock. In this case, it's all the amide groups, so you have to lock the oxygen, the carbon, and the nitrogen over there. This is important. It's important to mention that this lock feature is useful when you are using a substructure search. In my case, I'm doing a search as drawn. So in this case, it will not make a difference because I am already telling Reaxys that all the atoms are locked when I am searching as drawn. But I just wanted to show you how to lock atoms in case you want to go further, and instead of perform the search as drawn, just perform it as substructure search. Now, the second bit that I show you was the ring. In this case, how can I make a ring bigger? So to have another ring size. For that, you need the feature that is called repeating unit, and that is with the little brackets on the left. So you click on that button, and then you click on any atom in your ring, and then the brackets will appear in a field, and you can enter a range of the number of atoms that you want to have extra there. So in my case, I input 1 to 3, which will mean number 1 is still the 6-member ring, but up to 3. So that means I am up to 9 members in the ring. The same parallelly, if you want to do like a smaller ring, I would recommend you then to erase the 6-member and just draw the smallest that you want, let's say a 3. And then from the 3, you can up to 1 to 7 or so on. Now, what if I want other ring types? For that, you will use the bond properties menu. So you highlight the ring that you want to change the type and then right click on bond properties. In the second screenshot, you will see that these bond properties are automatically assigned as type single and topology undefined. So I'm going to change that. The type is going to be any, so that means it can be single or double or triple. And the topology is going to be in a ring. So I don't want a chain. I only want a ring in this position, and just click in OK. And now you're going to see how in your structure Reaxys have tell that you have a ring with a ring wording all around, and also all the ring bonds are now dotted lines, meaning that it can be single, double, or any type. And then click on transfer to query with the same features as before to see what we obtain. And you can see that we jump from 5 substances to 6 substances. What is that extra substance that we didn't obtain before? So here we have, and that is exactly the same substance, exactly the same structure as before, but with a benzene ring in the middle. So this was not obtained before because we were telling that this ring was single bonds only, but now that we have a little more flexibility, saying it can be any, but still a ring, you see how we obtained this result that was hidden before. So how can I play now with the naphthalene portion that I have on the bottom? So for here, I can change this to any aromatic using the Reaxys group generics. This is the orange-red that you have on the right-hand side of your structure canvas. If you click there, then the Reaxys group generics menu will open. I will move to the tab on cyclic and then click on ARY. So this stands for any aryl group. And I will insert it where the naphthalene was. I just want you to mind here that we have a carbon before that naphthalene group. So I'm still keeping that carbon over there. Otherwise, if I insert the array only literally directed to the chain, that will mean that I don't have this spacer that was important in this type of structure. So just mind the carbon there is before and then transfer to query. And let's see how we jump from 6 results to now 9 results. So what are those 3 extra results that we didn't obtain before? Indeed, now these are groups that are not necessarily neutral naphthalene. So now we have a methoxynaphthalene and we have even a biphenyl group on there. So these are still aromatics, but they are a little bit more flexibility on this position. In the same context, we can have any group in this position, not necessarily aromatic. And for that, you can come back for the Reaxys group generics and now this time select a G group. So in this case, I'm selecting a GH, will stand for any group or hydrogen, and I will insert it directly into the chain. Now check that I totally forgot the carbon that I had before because I don't need it anymore. With GH, it will search for any group that is attaching here. So it can be a methyl naphthalene that will be already covered in this GH query. So if I transfer, I will check that my results now have jumped from 9 to 12. So what are those extra substances that I obtain? If I analyze them, I will see that now I'm obtaining other groups that contains heteroatoms, like for example, these 2 quinoline examples. So with this, I cover a little bit more room on this position and I still have the molecule that I wanted. Again, I'm going to stop here because otherwise I can continue playing with this structure, but I show you other areas on the moieties that you can play with. But before I close with this structure, I just want you to remind that don't forget to set up an alert. In that case, you don't have to come back to Reaxys every time. Reaxys will perform the searches for you and just send you the results to your email. So where can you create an alert? Either via the preview page, there is a create alert button with a little bell over there, or once that you are in the actual results heat set, you can come back and click on the number of results, and then there is an alert button that will appear there. Once that you click in there, Reaxys will open you the create alert menu where you can give a name to your alert. You can also add some of your colleagues' emails. They all be informed at the same time, and you select the frequency and other features for your alerts. So in that case, as I said, Reaxys will perform the searches and you will only receive the results over there. And then if you continue to analyzing all these literature searches, you will notice that there is one target that was mentioned most of the time, and it is PSMA. And I will let Carine explain you how you could perform a search of this target in Reaxys.
So thank you, Carine. It was very nice to see how you can generalize a complicated scaffold as the one you use when you need to do complex searches. So I would like to show you a little how it's possible to see how Reaxys could help you in the design of a family of compounds interacting with that PSMA target. So I will simply use the quick search, and I will locate the target I would like to find, and I would like to locate any information existing on inhibitor effect in relation to this specific target. So as you know, Reaxys will analyze everything, propose you several types of answers. But as Karen showed you, I will not go and analyze the 2,000 documents found because I would like to introduce a specific correlation between my two terms. And so it is why I will immediately go to the query builder. And it is another advantage of doing that gymnastic. It is the fact that the synonyms are generated in the quick search. And as you can see, immediately synonyms are proposed for my target. So I am sure to not forget one. If there is one term that you do not agree with, it's not a problem. You can select simply and delete, what I will not do. So I would like to say that my two terms are correlated by a proximity operator. I will use the operator near because I would like to have the two possible orders. And also, I think that for this case, it is enough to have up to maximum one keyword between the two keywords. And simply, I will look after all the documents that have been generated on this topic. You have the document displayed by publication year. I do not know if you have seen that recently the relevance algorithm was improved, and it is very nice when you use it now to see that immediately you can check in the titles that you have documents answering exactly your need. Now, of course, don't forget, you can also very easily check a little the competitive market. And also, if you want to view all the different companies having worked a lot on this topic, you can use the more function, or you can, of course, also use the filter by value function to isolate some specific competitors. I would like to rapidly show you how it's possible to create a SAR table where you will have simply the interaction between the different targets mentioned here, with my target of choice being here, in relation to all the different substances. Of course, I have a lot of targets displayed here because a lot of targets were accepted from the literature I have used. So what I can do, of course, is to limit to the target using the filter by value and simply entering as keyword, for example, glutamate, excuse me. And what I would like to do is to use a truncation to really sure to use all the other targets containing these names. Of course, when you have a SAR table like this one, it's very easy because we would like to create a list family of compounds with some specific properties. It's very easy to sort the different molecules by decreasing activities. You have then several boxes with colors, color indicating you a certain level of activity. And so I can immediately see for my substance that is here at the top, the different experimental parameters extracted from literature in the case of inhibitor effect in relation to the glutamate target, and of course with the references and the literature from which it was accepted. Now, I am very interested by this molecule, and I would like simply to check the different details existing simply in the literature. By clicking on the substance details link, I am in Reaxys. I can access a lot of properties, but I would like to focus a little on what are the similar molecules existing, having the same type of scaffold. Different types of similarity are found. You can have the definition by clicking on the query mark. I am very interested by this list of 45 different molecules, having very similar structure and having also interaction with my preferred target. Of course, from here, I can export, I can add additional filtering, and I can do a lot of other nice things. But I would like to give now the talk to Carine because she will finalize her talk. Carine?
Thank you, Carine. Yes, I'm just going to go back to the slide that I was before. So you explain all this in live. Sorry, I think the slides moved a little bit. I'm just going to move quickly. I think it went to the very beginning for some reason. I'm just going back to where I was. Okay, perfect. So yes, as Carine mentioned, we're just going to close now with the talk and with some conclusions. And the first one will be that you could see that Reaxys is a robust tool that included both text and structure search options. We explore both of them and you see the differences and how you can enhance your searches either via text with the query builder or via the structure with some of the many features that you can find in the structure canvas. You can also stay updated with the latest advancement in your area of interest by setting up alerts. I show you how, and again, as I mentioned, you don't have to come back every time. The results will be automatically delivered to you via email. However, it is essential that you take trainings and engage with data in hands-on exploration, so you can fully unleash the power that Reaxys have in all these hidden features and hidden buttons that you can find on the sides of the structure canvas or in the querylets. So with that, I just want to thank you all for listening to this talk, and we are here to answer any question that you may have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And well, of Carine, I knew that she is an expert in Reaxys, but you clearly are an expert yourself as well, Karen. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have
use
some
it
really
every day.
we have some interesting questions. Let me cluster them a bit by question type. And so there's a question around, can we use mesh terms in the search? And maybe, Carine, that could be done through the query editor, query builder. Please unmute.
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I didn't hear it very well, please.
The question is, can we use mesh terms in the search? For example, radioligand assay as a mesh term.
Yes, you can of course use that, and then I would recommend you to follow the same procedure that what Karen explained you, starting with a quick search, going to the editing in the query builder. Of course, you can use those things. Don't limit yourself.
Another question, are the name searches that have punctuation, for example, hyphens, are they punctuation neutral? Does Reaxys discard the punctuation in the terms that you use for searches? Such as hyphenated words?
But in fact, I think that use truncation is the best way to help you in such case. Usually, Reaxys is taking the terms that are accepted as they are into the publication. Yeah. I would like to see 2 examples so I can be more precise in the answer.
Maybe that can be put in the chat if the person asking the question wants to know more. You at some point showed a few drawn structures, Karen, and there's a question, can I get smiles out of that image?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So for example, what you can do
export.
is
Yeah.
Yes, you can export in smiles. You can also click on the 3 dots when you have the answer, and you can automatically generate the smiles of a specific structure. Then.
Yeah.
Even if you have drawn your own searches, your own structures in your internal files, let's say ChemDraw, you can just copy the smiles and paste it into Reaxys canvas, and the structure will be drawn automatically.
Yeah, so you can get the smiles out, or you can even paste smiles into the.
Yeah.
Excellent. When retrieving documents, can you split the document retrieval between, for example, patents and papers and preprints?
Patents and papers, yes, there is a filter on the left-hand side that you can, when I use the index terms, there are plenty other filters that you can explore, and even by patents, you can filter by patent office, you can filter by companies as well. So yeah, you can.
And so would you recommend to filter and then export, or is it possible to export and then filter?
Both, because when you export, there are plenty of formats to export, but if you export via Excel, you can add the filter itself within Excel and then just rearrange in your preferred order.
Yeah, so you can essentially export in the way that you prefer. Okay, then there is a question, a person thanking Karen and Carine for a very helpful presentation. And so the question is regarding the internal teams you support with literature searches, Karen. What are their specific needs and how do they utilize the information and insights that you help discover? And maybe additionally, could you describe their workflow and how you share these insights with them?
Sure. So as you say in the introduction, I belong to the Novartis Knowledge Center. So this is like an information hub where we have experts on different areas. So myself will be the chemistry area. And then we are global, supporting all the organization. So we have queries and requests from all, starting from R&D until like legal, commercial, all of them. And they are quite familiar with Reaxys already, but however, sometimes they want to improve their search strategy. And that's why we are the experts in-house for that. So for example, some will come and say, I would like to search for this compound with different rings, but I am doing a search with like 3 searches with the 3 rings differently. And that's what I tell, well, there is a repeating unit, so you can do 1 search, including the 3 rings. So this is the type of workflow that we will work with. It is like we will check their search strategy and refine it. Whenever we are a little bit more, if there is something more complications, then we will go with an Elsevier expert. So that's why we have an Elsevier customer representative. In our case, is Carine. So she will be working with us very closely, and she will check my search strategy. And in case there is any enhancement, then I will leverage the knowledge to the chemist in-house.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. There's also a question around what would be your recommended approach for dealing with different coordination and valence metals when drawing coordination cages? Quite specific question.
Yeah, when you are in RLT area, that's something that you want to further explore. And I didn't have time to show that, but yes, you can change the bond order in the DOTA cage. Well, there is not only DOTA as cages, there are many others, but that's kind of the standard one. You can change the bond order and the charge depending on the metal. Let's say, for example, for gallium, there is also a coordination observed bond order of 6. So then you will, instead of 7 that I did, you just insert the number 6, and then the charges as well can be updated accordingly. So for that, unfortunately, there is no way that you can cover all the charges and all the coordination in one single search. You will have to set up different searches for different coordination. However, you can set up alerts for all of them, so you will get the results of all of them at once.
Excellent. There's one person that doesn't have a question, but that wants to really thank you for this session. They expressed that they're amazed at what you can do actually with Reaxys, and that they wish there were many exercises to learn more precisely. So that's definitely a compliment to the both of you. There's one final question, maybe that's quite specific on the field of RLT. So would you be able to get a more specific question into Reaxys than just RLT as such? And what would that then be, maybe in combination with a substance of sorts?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what the query builder is for. So you can play with the querylets a lot, and you can also create groups of searches within the query builder. So you can have radioligand and therapy as a group, and then you can have another saying and Pluvicto or any other substance name that you want, and even a structure. So you can have like a very specific, as restrictive as you want type of search using the querylets that you have in the query builder.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. 2 questions around preprints. Is the chemistry in preprints extracted, and so how are preprints indexed? Maybe Carine, something you can help answer?
So in fact, we are extracting the data from the bibliographic references as soon as they are available online. So if your preprint is available online, yes, it will be done.
Yeah. Excellent. And then I think we come to the end of this session. I really want to thank you. You've put a lot of work in showing some very smart ways of navigating Reaxys. Thank you so much. I see that this was very engaging for the audience as well. I appreciate all of the efforts that you've put in, and want to wish you a wonderful day. We will move to the next session, which is hosted by 3 Elsevier colleagues, Dr. Vincent Neary, Dr. Makoto Takamura, and Dr. Prashant Karandikar, who will show you some tips and tricks on how they navigate Reaxys. So again, thank you, Karen. Thank you, Carine.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.